I cannot believe that we're already into April of 2021. Today I'm showing you guys our budget for the month, so let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if you love all things budgeting, then scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. Today I'm sharing with you our actual household budget for April 2021. And before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that the budget template that I will be using is one that you can get yourself on my shop, and so I will have a link to that in the description box down below so you can check it out. It works in Excel, Google Sheets, all the things. You can just do it as an instant download and start your budget with this template. So as a little backstory, if you are new here to my channel, I live in Portland, Oregon with my husband Jacob and my 10-month-old son Peter, and here is our budget and plan for the month of April. So the first section that we have here is our income, and I have my husband Jacob's income blocked out and my income blocked out, but I do show you my business income, which is everything that I do here on YouTube, and this month I am paying myself a salary of $5,400. So we have a total take-home pay for our budget of $9,400. A couple things that I'll mention in regards to the income. My husband Jacob works in product marketing. He's a product marketing manager, and he works like a full-time day job. And then I myself technically do work for an employer. I work a whole 5 hours a week doing accounting for my employer, and then everything else that I do is here on YouTube, and I stay home with my 10-month-old son. So what is blocked out here is our take-home pay. So this is everything after taxes, insurance, retirement contributions, all of those things. So this is what gets deposited into our bank accounts. So that is the money that you are not seeing there. But as a grand total, $9,400. So we use a zero-based budget, which means all of our income equals all of our expenses or money out. So we want to allocate $9,400 into our budget. So let me show you how we plan to spend or save every dollar this month. First, we have our normal expenses. The first thing that we have is our tithe. So we are Christians and we believe in tithing and giving to our church and other organizations. It's been super important to us throughout our marriage and our financial journey. So this month we are giving $940, which is 10%, to our local church. Next we have is African New Life. We support 2 children in Rwanda through African New Life, and so that is $78 a month. And then we have another missions organization which we give $40 a month to. Next we have is our mortgage, and you see that we don't have anything listed here. I shared in our February budget report that we have actually refinanced our home. We've been living in this house for 1.5 years now, but with interest rates being so low, we decided to refinance. I shared all about it in that video. I'll leave a link to it up above if you want to check it out and learn more about why we decided to refinance. But all of that to be said, we don't have a mortgage payment yet for our new loan until May. So for the months of March and April, we actually don't have a mortgage payment, so that's why this is blank. So next we have is our HOA, which is $121.46 each month. And yeah, we live in a neighborhood with an HOA, and that's okay. Next we have is water and sewer, and that is $93.85-ish about each month. Then we have natural gas, and this is what we use to heat our home with and for cooking. Since we are getting into spring, we aren't having to use as much heat, so I think that we should be around $40 for our natural gas bill. Next we have is trash. We pay our trash every other month, and so this month is a trash month, so that's $58.72. Next we have is electric at $40 a month, and this is pretty standard, but also now that we're getting into spring, maybe this will be a little bit lower as well, but we use electricity for all the lights that we have on in our house and anything that's plugged in. And because our house is heated with natural gas, that's about it. So I think that should also be around $40. We use energy efficient bulbs. I know some people think that our electric bill is really low, but we just really try to use energy efficient bulbs and reduce that cost. Next we have is internet at $49.95 each month, and that's pretty much a standard. And then we have phones. This is for my cell phone and my husband Jacob's cell phone, which is $109.59. We are actually on my parents' family plan, so we pay our lines for the family plan. And next we have is insurance, which is actually very similar to the phones. This is for car insurance, and we pay $109.64 each month. This has gone down since the pandemic started, and it's still low, and it would vary every month because we would get like a kickback from our insurance company like every month because of the pandemic. So anyway, $109.64, and I feel like that's very, very low. Next we have is life insurance at $52.89. We each have a life insurance policy, one on myself, one on my husband Jacob, and we have a term life insurance policy for each of us, and it's $52.89, so like super affordable. Next we have is groceries, and that is budgeted to be $350 this month. Our son Peter, like I said, he's 10 months old, and so he's starting to eat more food, so we kind of have bumped this up from $300 to $350 because he's eating more regular food, which is fun. So we just want to allow a little bit more of that in our budget. Next we have is eating out, and that is $100 a month. We've mostly been doing takeout kinds of things, but I'm hopeful that maybe in April, like we could go sit outside at a restaurant. So we live in Portland, Oregon. I don't think I shared that. We live in Portland, Oregon, and since it has been winter, restaurants have been open for outdoor seating, but I'm not really interested in sitting outside in winter time to eat at a restaurant, but hopefully in the spring I'll be like ready to do that. Restaurants now are actually open for indoor seating currently at the time of filming this, and so that is an option, but I don't know if I just feel comfortable yet going indoor at a restaurant, so I would love an outdoor option, so hopefully we can do that this month. Next we have is gas, and we plan to spend $40 this month on gas for our cars. We have now been working from home for 13 months, which is crazy, and honestly it's been great. So Jacob has his office, he works from home. I obviously do everything here for my business, so I'm at home. So we spend very minimal on gas. Like we used to spend over $150 a month when we were both commuting to work every day, but yeah, now it's just $40 because we don't really have anywhere to go. Next we have is fun, and I also included this in my March budget for the first time in like a year, but we have fun money budgeted for, and I'm hopeful that we can do maybe a couple fun things, maybe get together with a few friends and do some things as we're easing back into society, maybe go to Topgolf or something, I don't know. We'll do some sort of entertainment thing. Next we have is miscellaneous. You always need a miscellaneous category in your budget because there's always something random that comes up. So $100 of miscellaneous for anything random. Next we have is Peter. So our son's name is Peter, and we have decided to put $50 a month into a brokerage account that we intend to gift him later on. We would love to be able to help him with like a car when he's 16, help him with a wedding, and like a down payment on a house. That'd be great. So we're just saving $50 a month into this brokerage account so that we could be able to be extra generous with that for him someday. So that's our hope with that. Next we have is college. We are saving $200 a month into Peter's 529 college savings plan. That's another big goal that we have for ourselves right now, and we're just continuing to put $200 a month from now until he's, you know, in college. That's our plan. So we're saving something towards college. We know this won't cover everything, but it'll cover something, so we'll keep saving. So those are all of our normal expenses. And also, I say expenses, but like obviously the Peter's money and then the college, those are going into like investment accounts, but I have those as labeled as expenses because that's money that's coming out of my big account and going somewhere else. I'm not keeping track of that myself. So that's why I have this in my expenses section of the budget. So now to show you the savings section of our budget, which is fun because this is where we're working on extra financial goals. And if you've been following these budget updates for a bit, then you may have noticed that I've missed something, but I'll talk about it here in a little bit. Okay, now you're very curious, I know. So first thing we have is our emergency fund. We are putting $1,000 into the emergency fund this month. So I've shared previously, but we actually took money out of our emergency fund earlier this year. So we're just working on refunding that. I'm just putting $1,000 a month into it. We'd like to have about roughly about 6 months of necessary expenses. We went a little bit below that when I took it out in January, but we're at maybe like 4 or 5 months. So I'm just rebuilding that back up to be closer to 6 or 7 months. And so just $1,000 every month for the remainder of the year is our plan. And also we have our balances blocked out right now because I haven't showed you our March 2021 budget report, and I will tell you guys it's a big one. It's a little crazy, so definitely stay tuned for that video to see what happened with that, and then you guys will see the balances there. So next we have is Jacob. Jacob gets $150 of personal spending money each month, and I like having this in the savings area of our budget. This is also like what some may call a sinking fund as well, but I like having it in this section because it allows us to be able to save this money each month if we want, and we could save it up and buy something bigger if we wanted. So $150 each month. And this is money that like we can do whatever we want with. We don't need each other's approval, and it's just fun money for each of us. Like I'm gonna go get my hair cut soon. I will not take that out of my personal spending money. That'll come out of like miscellaneous or something. But my personal fund is like fun things for me. So getting like my hair cut at like a reasonable price when I get it cut like twice a year isn't going to come out of like my personal fun money. So anyway, speaking of my personal fun money, I get $100 each month. The reason why I get less is because I just am not as much of a spender as Jacob, and Jacob really wanted $150 to be able to fund some of his hobbies that he enjoys, and I felt like that was totally justified. So I just felt like I didn't need that much because I haven't really spent very much money since the pandemic. Like things that I would spend my personal fun money on would be like going out to lunch with friends or getting more Starbucks, random Target runs, and I just don't do those things right now. So for right now, I totally feel fine with having $100 a month in personal spending money, and yeah, that's fine by me. Next we have is extra giving. We put $50 a month into an extra giving fund, and I love this because it allows us the permission to say yes to additional giving opportunities if they come up, so we always enjoy putting money in this fund. Next we have is gifts, and so we are putting $50 into a gifts fund. We have a lot of friends who are having babies, getting married, doing all the things, so this just allows us to be able to buy gifts for people whenever those things come up as well. Next we have is vacation. You guys, we have a vacation booked. I don't know if I shared this, but we actually did have a trip booked for May to go to Hawaii, but we've recently canceled that. And we are instead planning to go to Hawaii, but a different island in October. So I'm excited about it, and I'm very hopeful that by October, like, we'll feel good about it. And honestly, I probably would feel good about it in May, but I feel like just since we haven't really gone anywhere or done anything with our 10-month-old son, like to think of just all of a sudden getting him on an airplane for 6 hours while we haven't even had the opportunity to take him to church yet feels like a little much. So I think that we just need to ease back into things, and then we'll feel comfortable to like take that trip. So anyway, I know that I've shared before that we had this trip planned for Hawaii, but yes, we did cancel it, and I have another one planned for a different island in October. So I'm really hopeful that like by the summer, by fall, like we'll feel ready to do that. So we are still saving money for vacation every month, $400 this month going to the vacation fund. Next we have is Christmas. We are putting $100 a month into the Christmas fund because Christmas is gonna come along in several months, and then we'll have all the money set aside that we'll need to spend on gifts, decor, like all the Christmassy things. Next we have is medical. We're putting a whopping $25 a month into the medical fund. And yeah, that's what medical will be if we have to go see a doctor, have a prescription, any sort of thing. We're on a PPO plan right now, and I will share more about this in the March 2021 budget report because things got a little crazy. But if you've been watching, you guys know that we have an HSA, but some things changed with it and it was a little extensive. So I'll talk about it in the March 2021 budget report video. And yeah, so you'll learn about that there. But we are saving $25 a month into our medical fund for any sort of medical related expenses. Next we have is car maintenance, and that is at $75 this month. We know that we're gonna have to pay to repair things on the car, so we save $75 a month to be able to cover that whenever a repair comes up. Next we have is house maintenance at $375 each month. So the way that I do this is I take the overall value of our home, times that by 1%, and that's how much I want to save for the entire year. So then I take that number divided by 12, so $375 is what I want to save each month to cover for house maintenance. Our house is newer-ish. It's now like 8 years old, I think. So there hasn't had to be like a lot of things that we have to have taken care of it, but I know that those things will come up eventually. And it's really just reassuring to know, like, if something happens, we have money in our house maintenance fund, and with the amount that we have in our house maintenance fund, if we actually needed more, then we also have our emergency fund. But I love that this is like an emergency fund for the house, basically, to cover any sorts of repairs. We actually recently just had a leak on our the back of our sink, and something that if it was just me, I would have had to call the plumber to come fix it, but luckily Jacob is so handy. He was able to figure it out and go to Home Depot, buy an $8 part and replace it and fix the sink. But it's for those sorts of things. Like, as a homeowner, you're responsible to pay for the maintenance costs of owning a home, so we just save for it every month. Next we have is household. We put $100 a month into a household fund. This covers things like toilet paper, paper towels, soap, detergent, like all of those sorts of things. And next we have is $100 into our baby fund. So this covers everything that we may need for Peter. So diapers, wipes, clothing, toys, like all those sorts of things come out of the baby fund. Anything that we get because we have a baby goes here. And then lastly, we have extra mortgage. And if you guys have been watching my videos lately, then you know that I've had this up in the expense section because we've been sending this money off every month to go towards paying extra toward the mortgage. A big goal that we have right now is to get out of PMI, private mortgage insurance, on our loan. And we're actually really close to that thanks to some really great house appreciation in the last year since we've bought. But I moved this down to the savings items because I think that we're really close to 20% equity in our home. Once we do reach 20% equity, we can request an appraisal, which we have to pay for. It should be around $500 to $600. And if it comes out that we have 20% equity in our home, then PMI will be automatically dropped. It's not very much for our loan. It's now like $85 a month, but it's just one of those things that would be nice not to pay for. So we've been working at trying to get out of PMI. And we are now at the point that we're close to probably 80%. I think I'm going to wait maybe another month to request the appraisal, because I don't want to request the appraisal and then have it not come out to be like where we are hoping, because then I would have wasted $500 or $600. So basically, all that to be said, I'm putting money aside every month now into the extra mortgage fund, and that way when we do the appraisal, if it ends up coming back that we already have 20% equity, then great, then we have extra money sitting here. But if it ends up that we are at like, I don't know, 19% and we need to put extra money in, then I'll take money out of here. So it just basically all comes down to, like, I don't want to put more towards the mortgage payoff if the appraisal is going to come back that we're already like at this point. So anyway, I'm just sitting it here holding on until we get the appraisal, and then I'll pay whatever difference I need to be able to get out of PMI whenever we get that appraisal, hopefully in maybe like a month or so. Which leads me to, I think we're still trying to figure out what financial goals we want to work on next. And I keep going back and forth about this. I'll have to do a whole video on it, but I recently shared about how, like, our goal right now is to work on paying off the mortgage early. And I keep going so back and forth on what we want to do for that. So maybe I'll have to make a video about an update, but we at least want to get out of PMI this year, and then we'll have to see what happens. So that's why I'm holding it off and not just putting it all towards an extra principal payment on the mortgage. So all that to be said, we plan to put $4,250.90 into the extra mortgage fund. And this is basically where every extra dollar we have is going for right now. So as a total, we are saving $67.75.90, and you can see here the total money out, which is the expenses and the savings, equals $9,400, which is how much income we have coming in. And this formula right here calculates a zero balance, which means that we have a zero-based budget. All of our income has been assigned an expense or a savings, and our budget is now complete and ready to go for the month of April. So that is my April 2021 budget with me. A little crazy, but I'm excited about these like big numbers that we're working on putting towards our financial goals. So don't forget, if you want to get this budget template, I will have a link to it down in the description box below, so you can check it out there. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye.